Today, how many American citizens remain in Afghanistan?
I don't know.
So you're planning for these operations, and you should be, have some kind of account of how many Americans are, whether in harm's way or need to be evacuated, right?
I think, as you probably know, first of all, the State Department would be a better place to go for an estimate of how many Americans are Afghanistan or in and around Kabul. That is not a figure that the United States military would know, and I think, as you also know, not every American citizen in another country, there's no obligation that they register their presence, and that you can have a perfect, accurate count. But I don't have that figure, and I'd refer you to my State Department colleagues for the best estimate on that.
Kirby, does the president have does the Pentagon have the authorization at this point in time to expand the perimeter at the airport or to go into Kabul if necessary from the president?
The mission, Helene, is to provide safe and secure operations at the airport.
I'm asking you if the Pentagon has the authorization from the president.
I'm not going to talk about the potential of any future decisions one way or another. That would be a policy decision. We are focused on security at the airport.
My question is, do you have the authorization now at this point? Who makes that decision? Is it Biden or is it Austin?
We are authorized to provide safe and secure operations at the airport, Helene.
Can you talk a little bit about the logistics regarding the human needs of the people at the airport? There's a lot of civilians, a lot of troops. There's food, there's sleeping arrangements, water, sanitation. Are you handling both military and civilian, and how is that? How are you doing that?
So when you look at when whomever comes into the gate at HKIA and is processed for ready fly, all human needs, all of those things, basic needs to ensure their welfare, their care, to ensure the medical, all those things to ensure they can go forward and fly are being done. And that is a combination of State Department support and military support, working hand in hand, the commander and State Department, to ensure eating, sleeping, well taken care of, out of the elements are being done. Absolutely.
You've got like 2 more weeks almost of this. Are there concerns about maintaining the input of supplies, the cleanliness over time?
As military planners, we always ensure that we have the proper supplies on days for, to conduct missions. And those are assessed on a daily basis. And those commanders are always assessing, what do we have now? What do I need to do in the short term, and so forth. And so we are always continuing to, and that's why you see other planes continuing to arrive as required, to continue to ensure commander has everything they need to do to execute the mission that we have right now.
I need to get to somebody on the phone too. Tom Squitieri.
Hi, John. Thanks. Good morning. Hey, I wanted to just check on something. In regard to the Pentagon policy that existed to provide air support and other assistance to the Afghan government that was in place this summer, has that policy ended with the fall of Kabul? Or is it still alive for elements of the government that's still functioning in places like the Panjshir Valley? Thanks.
Tom, as I think you can see by events, there aren't operations out in the rest of the country to support, and our focus in terms of air power is as the general described, and that is providing appropriate overwatch for our operation, and that operation right now is at the airport. Barbara.
Can I go back on the question of gates at the airport? Can you tell us this new gate that you opened, are the Taliban outside of that gate? Are they letting people, both Afghans and people with U.S. documentation, U.S. citizens, through that new gate? And have you been able to keep, very specifically, all of your gates, including Camp Sullivan, on your side? Have you been able to keep them open, or have you had to close Camp Sullivan at various points? Have you had to close any of the gates?
So the gates at the Kabul airport are secure. And as we continue to flow more forces in, that gives the commander greater capability to provide security at those gates and, as we said, open more gates and allow for greater input into Kabul airport.
I'll follow up with Kirby. All respect. The question is, are all of the gates continuously open? Have you had to close, have the Marines had to close Sullivan at various points? Do you have the Taliban letting people through this new gate that you're talking about? Have you been able to keep them all continuously open?
Barbara, as the general said, we have additional gates now, and reporting this morning is that they are open. But I can't tell you with perfect clarity that there haven't been times over the last 72 hours when temporarily, because of maybe security incidents, that they've had to close. I suspect that that's true. I don't have a firm answer for you on that. Our goal is obviously to keep them as open as possible and to increase the flow as much as we can.
Just for the record, have any of the U.S. troops been involved in any additional crowd control measures that included them having to fire?
I'm not aware of any over the last 24 hours.
Thank you.
I think that's probably good. That's a good place to stop. So thanks very much. My plan is to come. Jim?
Could I just get a Haiti question? There are reports that American military medical teams are going into the area. Do you have anything on that?
That's what I said earlier. So first, we do have Air Force medical personnel there helping assist. And the first thing I said were, the flights of those helicopters were bringing in one of our medical hospital capabilities. And more to come today to be able to help and assist in a medical hospital first aid type care.
So they're setting up a field hospital that'll be manned by American military personnel?
That is correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. My plan is to update you again this afternoon, but it'll be off camera. So we'll see you about 2:15.